sometimes people think it's a scary word, but it doesn't have to be. There are ways that you can live with dementia, and there are ways that you can help other people live with dementia. And I'm telling you, there is no one in the whole wide world, I mean that sincerely, better to talk about this issue than our guest today, Teepa Snow. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
For those 3 or 4 people who are listening or watching and don't know you, tell them a little bit about your background and your 40-year career in dementia work.
Well, my teenage years, I worked with kids with developmental disabilities who were coming out of institutions, who families had no idea what to do because they were told the reason to put them into institutions because you didn't know how to care for them. And then they were told take them back because we were wrong, they're yours. And it's like, okay. So that's where it started.
Wow.
And I got my name, which was Teena, from a little boy with autism who couldn't say that. And he called me Teepa. So later on, I legally changed it to Teepa.
How sweet.
So it's a given name. And then I went into schooling that got me to a place where I first worked with people with head injuries, and then strokes, and then dementia. And I found dementia really got me curious in a really profound way because it was sort of a throwaway. Like once you have dementia,
there's nothing else.
There's nothing else to do.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no point in having rehab. There's no point in doing this. There's no point.
Just live with it.
I mean, it's just until you die, you have dementia. And it's like, well, that wasn't my experience. I was meeting people living with brain changes that come with dementia, and they were still people, whole people, with brains that were changing, not just dying, changing.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And then tell us how you ended up creating being the founder of the Positive.
Yeah, so
Action.
when I went everywhere and we're talking, it was all about loss. And it was really about staging the disease as deterioration, global deterioration. I said, whoa. There's another way of looking at this. How do we look at what they still have, what they're missing, how we support what they're missing, and allow them to be who they can be with our support? And if I can't, who can? Because we need to build a community, not view this as a one-on-one, but a one with support, supporting the human beings that are living with brain changes that come with dementia.
Well, and is that how you created or founded the Positive?
So I started off doing continuing ed. It turns out I'm pretty good at getting people curious. So if I say, ooh, what do you think would happen if I stood right in front of you and touched you if your vision was just like this? So if I, go ahead, put your hands around your eyes like this. And if I was right up in front of you, can you see my hand right now? If I'm closer to you, you can't. And when I touch you, it comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
So what if, and so then we do the what if. And that idea of how people learn is through experience. And how can I give you an experience that allows you to change your brain to match the changing brain?
So it's mutual. I mean, it's a collaboration. It's a relationship. It's a partnership. Yeah.
So it moves from me trying to give you care, which you may or may not think you need or want, to me working with you, so I get your permission to offer you the support. And it could be a negotiation. It's like, I know you don't want somebody in. I hear you. I'm going to ask you for a big favor. I want us to try it for 2 weeks. And I know it's a favor, and I know I'm asking for a lot.
That's how you get the help in that you need.
We've got to change the dynamic. Mom, you need somebody in here.
Yeah.
You've got to quit fighting me. And it's like, I don't know about your mom, but nothing would get mine fighting more
Than to say, to tell them what
don't
to do.
tell me what to do. I brought you in this world.
And I'll take you out.
Oh, I think you've heard my mother or yours.
And so the Positive Action
Starters?
No, your
Positive Approach to Care.
Positive approach to care. You founded that organization, and it is now operating throughout the world.
True.
As a matter of fact, we were it's a blessing in disguise because we were able to get you instead of Beth Nolan.
Beth Nolan, who is
had
a
to go to
native
India.
of Michigan.
Yes.
Over in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
No, she's over in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, right.
Ada,
yeah,
actually.
But that's how we were fortunate to be able to get you
She's
to
in
come
Mumbai,
on.
India.
Yeah, so she was called to India. So
Yeah.
you're doing this work throughout the world.
We are. Malaysia,
yes.
Australia.
And so
yeah.
how did that happen?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth,
That's the best way.
reputation, being
Yeah.
willing to be present in spaces and places where there was interest, and growing that interest, and then people sharing. And it comes from sharing. It's a ground and roots, kind of building upward and coming downward.
Yeah.
We believe top down, bottom up, and through the middle. Because there's not a lot out there that speaks to how do you do X.
And I wanted to just share that with the audience because it's not just, your reputation is phenomenal. And the fact that you were saying it's word of mouth means that there's some success because you and I both know the best reference you can get is word of mouth.
It's through experience.
Through experience.
Yeah.
And you've even done some work, I know Bruce Willis is a very public figure. You were called
Emma
in.
Hemming.
Called in to, but the conversation, what I understand is that it wasn't so much to help Bruce Willis as much as it was to help his children understand how to live with their father who now had dementia.
And help Emma start really looking at building community for herself and acknowledging 24/7 doesn't change the disease. It's still 24/7. How do we find that space where you can still hold all that you need to hold in order to be whole?
In the few minutes that you and I have just chatted today, we chatted a little bit before, I can already feel a shifting in terms of how conversations should be taking place. And so I can only imagine what it's like in a whole workshop or an event where you're spending time saying, here's how you approach talk with your partner.
So if you can't find the nouns and I say, well, what are you trying to tell me? What I'm demanding is the noun you don't have. And if I say, ooh, so did you want to talk about what we're doing here or something else? And now your brain has options. And it's a different way of looking at living life.
Does it require a tremendous amount of patience to shift that?
It requires a willingness to learn and an ability to learn new and to use new. And that takes practice. I mean, you have to try it and error and, I know better than that. It's like you do. You can know better, which is the prefrontal cortex, but you can't speak better because that's the temporal lobe. You can't do differently because that's sensory motor. The wiring between those sections has to be built like any other muscle. I mean, you have to build your skill sets, make those synapses grow and finesse and develop into wiring that goes to your primary. So as soon as you say, listen, I need to get out of here, instead of going, well, where do you want to go, which is a demand for a noun, I say, you're wanting out of here. Do you need to go somewhere? You just don't want to be here.
Give them an option again.
And it pauses the conversation just enough for them to start, oh, you're going to be helpful to me. You're not going to try to block me from leaving.
And I would imagine that reduces the amount of stress on the caregiver as well once they learn how to have those kinds of conversations.
People are really, it's so funny, I'll go somewhere and then several years later I'll be back and they'll go, oh, I know you don't remember me, but I tried that thing, it works. And it's such a discovery of the power of using the skills that you learn. And people say, it changed our whole dynamic, our relationship, it changed the journey for us. I found that even though I couldn't get her to take a shower, we could do wash-ups. And I'm like,
great.
That's all that's really required.
You said something earlier to me off camera that we all are living with dementia. Talk about that.
Because some people will be living with the dementia inside them, inside their brain, changing their brain. But the fact that you choose to be in my presence, you're living with my dementia, and it means you can choose to try to ignore that, which over time you will not be able to. You can try to take care of me, but if I'm in a state where I don't appreciate what you're doing, it can feel like I don't like you, when what I don't like is how you see me now and how you interact. So the reality is, one way or the other, we all encounter dementia in some way or another. Could be a next door neighbor, or it could be a good friend, could be a spouse, sibling, even a child, which we don't think about.
Right.
But people living with Down syndrome have an incredibly high risk of developing dementia.
And so what are some of the signs? I know that you don't want to get into too much of the medical because people
Right.
need to be tested, need to have a baseline, but what are tell people what they need to know if they think someone has dementia.
Yeah, so some of the things to notice is change. Change that's more rapid or more profound or in interesting ways. And those changes could be emotional, they could be intellectual, they could be language changes, they could be vision changes. But if over the course of a few months you're going, wow, she's like, what is going on here? Don't think aging. If it's 1% per year, think aging. So if I said, name as many animals as you can in a minute, and you got 32, and we did it again in 6 months, and you got 30, I would go, okay. If you got 27, I would go, okay. Or if you said, I don't see why we need to name animals. I've already done that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wow, okay. Or if you say, I should know that. Animals, yeah. I had a dog when so those kind of shifts and changes, whatever they are always interesting enough that they should be evaluated. Now, I want to be real clear, not all of that turns out to be a dementia.
Right, right.
And there's lots of kinds and forms and types of dementia. But everyone deserves a good evaluation once we've established a baseline and you start changing, because it turns out these changes are often signals of something going on.
Right.
And if we can manage that something, we could delay the onset, perhaps, of your brain changes.
So the early detection is
Big challenge.
makes a huge difference. And that detection is not just so much in the forgetfulness, but brain scans, CAT scans, or
It can be, but it can also be fairly simple. Like naming those animals
Yes.
actually causes your brain to light up in all areas. So one of the nice things is it takes a minute, and I've got some data that we could work with. And then if I have you, it's called trail making, I like it, because I have letter, number, letter, number, letter, number, and I'm asking you to draw a line from A1 to B3, C, without lifting your pen. And if you're going to drive a motor vehicle,
yes,
it's called divided attention. You have to be able to pay attention to this, pay attention to that, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. So for me, it's a quick screen that allows us to go, so tell me a little bit about how you've noticed your mom driving lately.
which is another challenge for folks.
Which
right?
is, because in our country,
Yes.
driving is such a critical part of living life.
You know, people say that all the time, but I would love to have a driver. I use Uber, Lyft, whatever, rideshare.
Yay!
All that.
We want you on our team.
Exactly, as much as I can. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. Parking, driving, gas. You know, it's just.
See, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I wish we could get more people comfortable, but for so many people, it signals my loss of independence.
Right.
Yeah,
Particularly
and our
older
culture creates the need for driving
Absolutely.
places.
Absolutely.
So,
What about mood changes? You see that a lot. And
It's
I hear
a
that
big
a
deal.
lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get angry and they start lashing out. And they didn't do that before.
right, and so that's a prefrontal and amygdala sort of connection, a wiring between your primitive brain and your thinking brain. And so it can happen for lots of reasons. And I want to figure out what kind of story is behind that for you. Are you actually feeling sad and feeling frustrated, and you have some emotional state problems like anxiety or depression? Or maybe you've lived with bipolar for a long time, but it's been sort of contained with the loss of a spouse, the loss of a dog. Now it's growing into something more profound. So mood changes, yes, but we want to know how you're reacting to that as well.
And the same type of conversation should occur regardless of the mood.
Yeah,
It's
so
not-
hey mom, I'm really curious, how have you been feeling lately about, how things are going for you? This way, or this way?
Nice.
Because how have you been feeling? I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
No, I don't want to chit chat.
Yeah,
I want to
right.
know this way,
this
way, or this
yeah,
way.
yeah.
And it gives us room for actual conversation.
One of my colleagues, and I'm sure she won't mind me sharing this, Kimberly, her mother was going through dementia, and she used to tell her sisters, whatever mom says, just continue that conversation. Don't try to change it.
Go with the flow.
Yeah,
We call
so
that
even
go
if
with the
it's-
flow.
Go with the flow, even if it's
Yeah.
wrong, remembering incorrectly or whatever. Don't try to correct everything.
Yeah, so don't try to correct everything. And what we want to do is also use a little bit of a reflection before we move forward in the conversation, because it slows us down and it affirms that I heard you, I'm listening, I value your words, and we're going to slow this down just a little.
Nice. So it really is more of a shift in perception and attitude for the caregiver, because you're not going to change the individual.
I can't fix dementia right
Yeah,
now. I mean, I do not have a way to heal a brain out of having these changes. What I can do is acknowledge the changes, support what's still present and possible, and then make arrangements to compensate for
love
what's
it.
not
I like
so
that.
much.
Yeah. I hope the whole wide world hears you saying that, because it makes such a difference. We meet so many people, particularly AARP, working with older adults who are dealing with or have loved ones dealing with dementia, and they're so stressed, and the tension and the frustration, and they're trying to do it all alone. You talked about community and the importance of community.
Yeah,
Expand on that.
Yeah, so if one person has dementia and somebody's trying to help them, and they're in this situation, what they're ignoring is how
everyone
much
else.
is around them. And all too often what I watch is a care person who gives everything, and I mean everything. Their own health goes downhill, their connections break apart, they're living in isolation. All they're worried about, even when they go to the doctor, is what's going on with them. And our medical providers are not 100% trained to turn to the partner and say, so let me ask you how you're doing, here, here, or here. And instead, by the time this person's journey is over, one of two things is happening. Either within a very few months, families start recognizing something's
too much.
really happening with mom here now. How did we miss that?
Yeah.
Or the person is not able to continue as a care provider. They're done. Their own health has deteriorated. And we can actually lose people, literally, but we can also lose people in the sense of they've lost who they were.
One of the things I hear a lot about, people losing sleep, and that's so critical,
big
right?
deal. Huge.
So how, if someone's dealing with dementia and they're not sleeping during the night, it impacts the caregiver as well. Any tips?
Yeah, one of the things we don't think about is the first helpers we need on board might need nighttime people, not daytime people. The day, if I can get a decent night's sleep, I can do something. I also want to get my person used to others around them. And night times is when I need to recover and cope if I'm an early bird, because I need my sleep so I can be present and work well with you. The other thing to think about is, have we always been off cycle, or is this relatively new? And do we need to really talk about what kind of dementia you're living with and how we're structuring a day? And are you flipping your day-night sequence? Is your circadian messed up? Are you getting enough to eat at the right times and the right things to eat for you to get some rest in between? Or do you have a dementia that's going to keep you up?
Yeah, those are good observations to make, rather than just trying to do it all on your own, making certain you get a sense of community. We've got about a minute or so left. What are you most optimistic about in terms of the future research? There's a lot been going on with dementia in terms of potential, I won't say cures, but helpful.
Yeah. I think for me, the hope comes from conversations like this, where we're taking it out of the closet, we're stopping the fear messaging, and we're moving into the help, support messaging. Because many of us are going to experience dementia, one side of the coin or the other, maybe both at some point, for many of us. So if that's the case, let's quit pretending like this is a unique phenomenon and say, wow, what can we learn before we need to learn it, so our brains are more open to the possibility. And for me, is what are we doing with kids? What are we doing to help them learn about their brains and how they work, and how to work with brains that are different? So, you know, the idea of neurodiversity and neuroplasticity, as well as neurodegeneration.
Okay.
So those words become words of appreciation of one another.
That's so powerful, particularly if you start with the young people.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide someone once they find dementia or put them away. The socialization is so critical. And they're just a human being who's thinking, dealing differently.
Kids are phenomenal. We've done so many classes with kids, and they're so fun. Within 8 weeks, they are going, "Hi, I'm Johnny, and you are?"
And you know who else is phenomenal? You are.
Oh.
And thank you so much for being here
So
with us,
welcome.
Teepa. We appreciate you, not only for today, but for all that you've done throughout the world to help people with dementia. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
If you don't have a will, what are the risks?
Well, I think it's important to know the state already has a plan in place for you if you don't have a will.
Oh,
So it's important that you take the time to understand what that plan is and then define for yourself what you would rather have happen.
we don't want the state planning what happens to our money. So what are the options?
Typically not. A will is a set of instructions for the probate court to follow. So that's how you declare to the state what you want to happen to real assets like your home, real property. A trust would be taking the control out of the probate court and leaving it directly to your heirs.
Can people create a trust on their own, or do they need to seek a financial advisor?
Absolutely an attorney.
You need an attorney in order to create a trust.
Correct.
And then that has to be filed and submitted.
Trusts do not get filed. Trusts are private documents that avoid probate. A will is filed as a matter of public record.
And can you change, or should you look at changing your will every year, or is it once you have one, it's good forever unless you have some changes you want to make?
Documents created last as long as you need them to. Most folks, most clients, most individuals, their goals change, their lives change. Kids mature, kids change, they get
Grandchildren,
divorced,
yeah.
grandchildren. So every period of time, you should consider changing or updating your wishes to be pertinent to where things are at today.
So regardless, bottom line, it's important to have a plan, and to have a plan that can be easily executed.
And is directly in correlation to what is most important to you.
And communicate that, right?
Absolutely. Where is the will located?
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Great advice.
CADA's regional mobility solutions can help seniors seize the day. Hear what riders and community leaders have to say about the value CADA brings to the lives of aging adults.
My name is Barbara J. Robertson. I've been riding CADA ever since 1988. Basically, it's for going to the doctors in the grocery store, and if I have to go to places of church or something like that. Usually, I try to come on first Sunday because that's communion on first Sunday, and I ride Spectran to come here for that. I take it with my goddaughter, so me and her boyfriend, we ride to Walmart together, or we go to Meyer in East Lansing when she goes to the doctors and stuff like that. And I have other people, I have friends in the building that takes CADA. I'm glad they got Spectran because a lot of people don't drive. They can't drive like me. Spectran is the only way I can get around, basically. I have friends and family that do have cars, but I depend on more on CADA. I know a lot of Spectran drivers. They've been knowing me for years, and I mean, I love it. This young man here, he was really patient, really nice, and everything. Yeah, it would be very, very frustrating without CADA, because, I mean, if we didn't have CADA, you know, the people that needs CADA, they would be in really bad shape, because it's, you know, how can we get around without CADA? It's really helpful to the community. It helps the elderly. It helps the handicapped people and the blind people, disabled. So it's really helpful because it helps me, and I'm disabled myself. It's very convenient. If you don't have a ride, call CADA.
If there was no CADA, we would have a very big problem because we both have physical disabilities, so we can't walk like really long distances.
If we didn't have CAD, I don't know what we would do.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Tracy Anderson with Impart Alliance at Michigan State University. Today I'm joined by Bethany Deiser. Bethany is the Assistant Director of Impart Alliance and also oversees the training program. Bethany, talk to me about some of the flexibility that people will find at Impart Alliance as far as training.
So we have tons of free training for direct care workers, and many people may have heard that direct care work is a huge opportunity. It is a growing sector of the workforce and of healthcare. There are so many different types of direct care worker jobs. It's a great job for people who are looking for part-time work in healthcare. It's a great full-time career as well. I have so many students that come to us because they are maybe studying for another degree or healthcare profession and want to get out into the field working and supporting people. I also have a lot of students who have done other roles throughout their lives and are looking for the rewarding experience of building relationships with the people they support and are becoming direct care workers as a part-time or retirement role.
A lot of opportunities with different pathways.
Yes, as more older adults are choosing to live and age at home, and as people with disabilities are able to live in the community and engage in community activities, there is a ton of work for the direct care workforce to get people into new positions and different roles to help people to stay in their home and to engage in their community. There's no one direct care worker job. There's a million.
Thank you, Bethany.
Of course.
So you want to avoid a nursing home and you need long-term care. David, what are the options?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that question. It's like we didn't even discuss this before. Nobody wants to see their spouse in a nursing home. Nobody wants to be in a nursing home. At least I don't know anybody who does. And the beauty thing is that you've already paid for the program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, PACE. PACE is our favorite program of all time because it does what you want it to do. It provides the level of care, the assistance to the spouse, to the family, so that no nursing home. 95% of PACE recipients die at home. These are people who otherwise, without PACE, they would be in assisted living, they'd be in a skilled nursing facility. But it doesn't have to be that way. And it is the good results are it's just overwhelming, because what we see so often is when a spouse finally has to give up and admit that their spouse needs skilled care, it's devastating to the at-home spouse. Everything they did, now it's terrible.
How expensive is PACE?
Oh, PACE is free. PACE, you already paid for it. It's part of your FICA. Came out of every check you ever received. Okay, it's a Medicaid case, so we got to qualify for Medicaid. But now they'll pick your spouse up to 5 days a week. They'll do light housekeeping. During the COVID, they even did grocery shopping to keep you at home, which is where most people, frankly, want to be. And they could do it if they had that much help. That's what PACE is there for. We love PACE.
We need PACE all over the state of Michigan. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
There was so much powerful, wonderful, influential information that was shared today. Please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone else and tell them to watch this show and make certain that they check in to what Teepa Snow had to say. Thank you for watching Real Possibilities.